We're going to see.
Demon Slayer.
What's that? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So yesterday I got the final items I needed for my saddle hunting setup. So I took it up to 20 plus feet, and let's just say I learned some lessons. So that's what I'm gonna cover with you guys today. Some things I learned during my setup, some things I needed to fix, some things that work well, and yeah, just kind of share with you for anybody that's new to saddle hunting, some things that I learned. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So the first major issue I had, I got this new XOP safe line. Essentially, it's a 30-foot line, and I got this for a couple different reasons. For one, I needed a tether, so the gentleman I bought the saddle from off of Facebook Marketplace, he only gave me 2 lines, so I was missing a tether. I thought I would be able to use this 30-foot safe line as my tether. Also, the idea being that in the future I could get what's called the Mad Rock Safeguard, which is essentially a rappel device. Thinking that, God forbid, if anything happens, I lose my platform or I lose one of my sticks while I'm climbing, I would be able to just rappel down the line rather than being stuck in a tree. Another reason is in the future I'd like to bring my kids out hunting with me, so I would be able to use this as a safety device that they could, I could climb, attach it, and leave the 30-foot hanging next to the sticks. That way they could hook up to the safe line while they're climbing, which is what its intended use is for. So where I ran into hiccups with this is the first tree I tried to climb, my other line I had planned on using as my lineman's belt was not long enough. I don't know if it's just because of my size, how big I am. I had an issue where it wasn't long enough to get around the tree. Even a little bit skinnier tree, it was not enough line, not enough excess for me to be able to climb and use it as a lineman's belt. So I ended up having to use my 30-foot line as a lineman's belt, which wasn't bad. The real issue came once I got the hunting height. I had to hook up the other line as a lineman, then take the 30-foot line off of my saddle, hook it up as a tether, which running the 30-foot line back through the loop at hunting height became a mess. And then once I got on the platform, I wanted to use, only 2 of my lines have ropeman's. My other line that I kind of use as a bridge intermittently is a 7mm rope, so it's too small for the ropeman one. So yeah, I was on the platform, hooking up the 7mm as a bridge to unhook my lineman belt, to hook my lineman belt up as a bridge, disconnecting the bridge, feeding one into the tether. It was a nightmare, especially all at 20 plus feet in the air. So one fix I came up with, just to make things a little more simple, I went to Harbor Freight. They gave me a free bucket, but I got a set of gear ties that I'm going to try to use to wrap up the excess of the 30-foot. That way, if I ever need the 30-foot, I can just unwrap it and use the 30-foot. But I'm going to try to wrap up as much of the excess as I can, but while it's still small enough to feed through the loop. Not sure how it's going to work, but we're going to try it out. The idea that I had was to try to wrap it up long and skinny, like I said, so that I could still feed it through the rope, but there's not 30 foot of line hanging. But I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to work. So let's see how it goes. Now, the other issue I'm going to have is this is obviously not going to fit in a sys hauler pouch. I'm going to have to figure something out with that. But I think that's going to be plenty right there. So we'll go ahead and take these gear ties, wrap them up like this. Now, it's just not gonna fit. I was hoping that I could be able to fit this whole line. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. So that was the idea, was that I wasn't having to feed the whole 30 foot through in order to make my tether. So that's going to work. All right. So now the only issue is where I'm going to put this. I saw they have like I know Tether does make like it's not a pouch. It's more like a fold that'll kind of wrap it up. I may have to run that. But that solves one issue. So the second issue I ran into is I have these pretty long gear ties that I was using to mount my equipment to my pack to carry out. Well, I didn't really pre-plan and think of a way to, once I take them off of my pack, attach them to my saddle. So I pulled these off and used these, which worked, but these are super long. So I bought another set of the gear ties. Shout out to XOP because they definitely thought of this. Now, right next to the bridge, there is a little hook that works perfect. I'm actually using both on both sides. I did buy another set of smaller gear ties that I'm going to use strictly to carry my sticks and platform while I'm climbing. My sticks, because I actually have another thing that I use for my platform that worked really well. Yeah, essentially I'm going to leave this gear tie on a little loop of my saddle that I'll be able to use to hook my sticks and carry my sticks up. Which I actually may, just thinking back on it now, I had an issue where when I was walking, when I couldn't hook up to the first tree and I was walking to the second tree, I wasn't even climbing, I was just walking. I walked back to get the camera and the rest of my sticks just fell off. Because if you know the tethered, they have these little orange tabs where they interlock together. They work great, but that was the first time I came across that issue, right? Where they just fell off. The rest of them just fell off. So it had me thinking that would kind of suck if I was climbing. I was almost all the way up the tree and lost 2 sticks that just fell off. So I think I've seen people do it before where they separate the sticks before climbing and kind of hook them up on each side. So we may try that. But essentially, I'm going to pre-fix gear ties to my saddle. That way, when I disconnect them from my pack, I don't have to feed the very long gear ties off of my pack and hook them back up and then feed them through my saddle. So these will be fixed to my saddle. That way I'm ready to go. I can just, as soon as I disconnect them from my pack, I can hook them up to my saddle. Okay, the next thing that worked really well, see, I permanently fixed here to this loop. I have trailer 550 cord and the reflective gear hoist. New to me, but I have to say they worked really well. So this I use to haul up my pack and my bow, and then the 550 cord I just tied off to my platform, and I actually was able to pull my platform up. It worked perfect. The only issue I had with the reflective hoist, which really wasn't an issue, but it was more of an operator error. So I had started pulling up my pack and my bow, but I had realized I forgot to put my hitch strap on that I'm actually going to use to hang my stuff. So I went to set my pack and my bow back down and realized a section of the rope had wrapped around. So I couldn't really do anything but let go, which it probably wasn't more than 3 or 4 feet at most off the ground. But essentially I dropped my bow on the ground and my pack, which was not ideal. So that was more of an operator error on my part, not following the right steps, it being my first time, but that was not ideal. But other than that, it worked great. Being able to pull it up and it wasn't too much. I learned that trick where you kind of figure eight on your hand and wrap it up. Comes that way you're able to pack it up clean. Like you can see right now, I have 2 lines permanently hooked up. So this is the issue: is this is the 7mm rope that I don't have an ascender for. The ropeman one won't fit. So I think while I'm climbing, I'm going to go ahead and just remove this and put it in a pouch. Because really the only time that I use this is once I got up to hunting height. I used it as a bridge while hooking up my tether. And then for literally 2 seconds, I just used it as a bridge and then disconnected it and used my lineman belt that has the ropeman on it as my bridge. It's not ideal because it's kind of sketchy, right, at hunting height, having to readjust all the lines. But that's just what I'm going to have to do for now until I'm able to get, I'm probably just going to get another line to use as a bridge. But yeah, that kind of buttons up the saddle portion of my fixes. I'm still going to have to figure out where I'm going to put that XOP line. All right, now the other new port I got one of these XOP single step aiders. Now, I gotta say, so far I'm not a fan. I don't know if I like the aiders. It wasn't too bad climbing up. As I was coming down, it was definitely an issue getting my foot in there. I think another thing, I didn't really see any instructions on how to set this up. I think I'm gonna move the attachment points more towards the center, which may help with some of the unsturdiness that I felt getting hooked up to it. So I don't know if you can see that. I had them attached on the outside edges, but I think putting them more to the center is probably gonna make it a little more easier to get in and out. So yeah, we'll try that on the next one. I'll let you guys know how it goes. So another thing I noticed when I was up in the tree, my pack was in the way. It was too big. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do right now to combat that. Um, yeah, it was big and it was in the way. So I was trying to think of how I could possibly hang it in front of me, uh, you know, directly on the tree. But then I'm not sure how that's gonna interact with my tether. So that's something I have to address and figure out whether that's get a smaller pack or just find the right location to hang it. All right, so the last little fix I'm gonna make, which I don't know if I would even call it a fix. I realized once I got to hunting height and I had everything hooked up, um, I didn't really have any way to hang items from my hip strap. So my quiver, as an example, right? I wanted to hang from my strap. I don't, there's no really, there really was no way to attach it. So I kind of just stuck it in my pack, which was not ideal. So what I'm gonna do is, it's kind of simple fix, but little Harbor Freight carabiners. I kind of wanted plastic just for noise, but I think this will work for the time being. And I have some stealth strips. I think, as an example, right, I'm just gonna throw some 550 on the quiver, but like my butt call, just run down there, and I'll be able to hang it. Uh, Same thing with my sticks. I'll just be able to hang it from the hip strap and have easy access. So with my quiver, I'll just throw a little section of 550, and I'll be able to hang my quiver just like that. So nothing complex or fancy, but uh, they just make everything more accessible. All right, so the last thing I will say for anybody that's looking to get into saddle hunting, for one, you most certainly have to be physically capable of climbing a tree. So uh, it took a lot of strength to pull yourself. It is physically exerting. It takes physical prowess. It's not something that you could just, uh, if you're not accustomed to working out or climbing or jumping or any of that stuff, you really need to be in decent physical shape, at least able to pull up and hold your own body weight, for sure. Another thing for those that maybe looking to get into saddle hunting, it's there's a lot to it. It's simple. It's a simple process, but if you look at this video of the base of the tree, once I climbed down and removed everything from the tree, there's just stuff everywhere. So if you're not keeping track of your gear, uh, and you're not efficient, it can take a while to get set up and calm down, wrap up all your ropes and your lines and get everything packed away. It can take a minute and it takes practice. So it's definitely an undertaking uh, if this is something you're looking to get into. However, overall, I'm super happy with the setup. Uh, I think it's going to work well for me. Moving locations and hunting different locations, all in one efficient pack that's not too heavy. I think it's going to work great. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Hopefully, this maybe gave you guys some tips um, and learn from my mistakes for those that are new to saddle hunting and maybe help and assist you guys on getting your stuff set up. Plus, if you guys have anything to help me fix my setup or tips or tricks to the adjustments that I can make, please let me know. Uh, Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. As always, cherish life, enjoy your liberty, pursue your happiness. Catch you guys on the next one.